Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful rest of your night. I know it's late and all that. We're going to get into this one. This is a very short one, but I had just gotten home. I had just gotten some new information, and I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this. You know, I've been keeping close watch on these new pieces of information that have been dropping around this particular case. And it seems like Ashley Banfield just keeps coming with more and more information, y'all. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is an opening. Maybe this is a glimpse into some truth here. I don't know what to think anymore. The sources keep telling the Banfield Show and News Nation more and more information. I guess we're just going to have to take it as it is, okay? And take it with a grain of salt, right? But there is some new information that was dropped just a little bit ago. I just got back home. So I was like, hey, let me hop on. Let me just do a quick live with you guys and chop it up with you guys on this new information. Now, I know I've been covering recently what has happened in Michigan, but I promise you, as more information comes out, you know for a fact, I will be giving you guys that information. But of course, you know I've been watching closely to this case as well and this situation, and there's just been weird stuff going off, y'all. I mean, I heard an OF page, too, that's been circulating out here. Some BS. I think it's BS, okay? It's ridiculous. So we got to get into some things. We don't have a whole lot of time tonight because of how late it is, but I wanted to be at least one of the first to react to this information that has recently just dropped by News Nation, okay? I think it's kind of important. So do me a favor, okay? Do me a favor, all right? Hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes as you guys start to file in. It would really, really mean a lot, okay? And do not forget to hit that subscribe button. You know your boy's working hard out here in these streets to give you guys the conversation and the information that you need, all right? Especially when it revolves around this particular situation, all right? This is a very, very interesting situation, okay? Very weird. I'll just say it, but it is information nonetheless, so we got to get into this, okay? Not going to be a very long show tonight, all right? It is late. I am tired as all get out. I was up late with you guys last night, and I'm back here late with you guys again. So we got some things we are going to talk about. And the thing is I'm going to take my time, okay? So be patient, y'all, okay? And you can always watch the rerun, okay? Respectfully. I'm going to take my doggone time. Thank you very much. I don't have to be here, but I'm giving you guys the information that you need, all right? So let's get into this, shall we? Now, we already know that Idaho 4, we have the monster that is suspected of doing these unthinkable things to these young kids, college students of the University of Idaho. Now, what's very, very interesting, okay, is that everyone has been wanting to know, okay? Everyone has been wanting to know what's been going on here with this 911 call. We've all been wondering. All of us have been sitting here going, hey, what actually happened here? Why did it happen the way it did? Why did Dylan take so long to call 911? Who is the person that was on the phone? Most importantly, who is the person that actually was on the phone saying, hey, 911? Here we have somebody who is passed out, right? So, what's very interesting is the information that we have just recently heard. Apparently, obviously Ashley Banfield, just put out this information. So there is a lot to take in, and there's a lot to understand here. Okay. But on some real stuff, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this whole freaking thizang, to be honest. Okay. And it kind of goes a little something like this. And let me see. Let me blow this up a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit more. It says sources. And of course, I'm going to be playing the video here shortly as well. All right, because we need to see the video too. All right, but sources with knowledge of the Idaho 4 investigation told News Nation that Ethan Chapin's best friend actually found Ethan and Xana in Xana's room. He's the one who actually was the one who went out and found them. Okay? Then, this is the same friend that called 911, or at least spoke to 911, to the 911 dispatcher. Okay? Now, which is wild, right? Because we've all been wondering, because they have said when they first initially did their press conference months ago, they said it was not one of the surviving roommates who called 911, or at least was on the phone with 911. It was someone else. And we are all ripping our hair out of our heads, sitting there just going absolutely crazy. Like, at least can we find out who the person was that was on the 911 call? Who's the friend? Who is the other person that wasn't one of the surviving roommates, right? Well, now, according to sources that are close to the case, they leaked this information to Banfield and News Nation, and they gave all this information to us, which I think is very interesting. It's very, very odd to me, and personally, I think this is very odd information. And again, I still have questions on who are these sources? Why are they not keeping this to themselves until the actual trial? And I feel like that's going to be my broken record song that I'm going to keep saying over and over and over again. I'm always going to sit there and go, hey, why are they giving this information to News Nation? Why aren't we hearing this from other news stations? Right? And I get it. You know, these places have their scoop. They get their exclusive. You know what I mean? They get the exclusive. You know what I mean? I get all that stuff. But it's very interesting. Okay? Very interesting when you hear this piece of information that I really think they shouldn't be putting this information out, because that's very crucial information. And I'll explain here in just a minute. But first, before we go into that, all right? Before we go into that, let me just repeat again for those of y'all who are late to the party, okay? See, some people, it's not late for some of y'all. Some of y'all, it's the afternoon in the future. You see what I'm saying? Y'all are about to wrap up your Wednesday. So see, Nelly, thank you. See what I'm saying? Good day. Good day, Nelly. All right. Good day. You know, hopefully you're having a great afternoon, okay? So sometimes it doesn't feel that bad being on this late, because I know some of y'all are watching from another corner of the world and y'all are still wrapping up your 9 to 5 or something like that. So I appreciate y'all being here and watching the show. And Tyler, hell no, I ain't throwing no shade. I'm just gonna take my time, so nobody try to get me to rev up. That's it. Okay, that's all. I still love everybody, but I'm here late at night when I could be asleep too, and I'm giving you guys the information. All right, so let us get in here and talk about this. Okay, so we now know, again, for those of y'all who are late to the party on this late show, okay, that sources close to the Idaho 4 investigation told News Nation that Ethan's best friend, whom he has not been named, but I have a feeling I know who it is, but I could be wrong, but I may be right. I don't know. This best friend found Chapin and Xana unalive in Xana's bedroom. Now, this also you got to put some other things into consideration here too. The information that we have here. Let's keep it real. Now, we heard about a van shoe print. This proves, if this is true, let me just say that again. If this information is absolutely true, this also proves that there were other people in the house, or at least one person that was in the house. Okay? We already know through the grapevine that there were other people that were called before 911 was even made. We know that too. But now we know proof positive, at least according to this source. Again, let me say this again. If this is actually true, sorry, I take back. Let me retract the proof positive. But if this is actually 110% true, then this proves that there were people inside that house before 911 ever stepped foot in that house. Now, there's certain things you can ask. There's theories that fly all over the place. That have been flying all over the place, given the fact one of the origin theories of it being a trap house to God knows what, right? But you got to put into consideration that this at least is giving us some information of the fact that people were inside the house. So this van shoe, okay? If this van shoe was just that fan shoe print, was found in the house, that could very well have been one of the kids running around trying to find out who was unalive and who was alive in the house. That's a good possibility. Now, Angel Nikki, thank you so much for being a member for the past 5 months. I really do appreciate your membership. Chat, let me just read this really quick. Love watching you, Pascal. Committed to let the family know everything you put out here for us. No drama on the Pascal shows. Only facts. Thanks. Hey, anytime. I appreciate it. I just figured there's going to be a slew of new information and other things to talk about tomorrow. I need to squeeze this in tonight so that tomorrow when I come back to you guys with more stories, I'm not feeling like I'm trying to squeeze 17 different shows into one day. So it's very interesting though, right? If you really think about it, if this person, this best friend, found Xana and Ethan unalive in Xana's bedroom, then that says that someone else, at least one other person that was not the surviving roommates, was actually inside the house, aside from the monster, and could have left a track, could have left a print on accident, not thinking because he's a kid. He's a college student. They're not thinking about this stuff, right? At least that's what I think. Okay? I got a few things I want to show you guys. One of them is actually the video from the Banfield show, because we need to check it out for ourselves so that you know, proof positive, what I'm saying did actually come from Ashley Banfield's show, and she's the one reporting it. So I want to make sure you guys hear that as well. Stevie, thank you so much for the 5. Thank you for the late night live, Pascal. No shade, but is that Santa decoration still behind you? Yes. And there's a reason. Okay. But yes, there is a reason. All right. You will always see this teddy bear somewhere behind me, most likely in that Santa Claus suit, for a very sentimental reason. So It doesn't matter if it's sunny, snowing, it doesn't matter. If Ramadan, I don't care. You will always see that there, just so you know. Okay? So let's get on to this conversation here. Okay? So here's the information. Let's take a look at this. Again, this does explain a few things, but still, it doesn't explain why. Well, it does explain. Let me just play it. Let's rock and roll.
Lot of things, not everything, but the probable cause affidavit, some of the police reporting, and the news conferences, that's given us a small picture. But what we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene. And tonight I can tell you. You have heard that the 911 call was made from a surviving roommate's cell phone. But we can now tell you who it was who made that call. I'm not going to name the person, but it was Ethan's best friend who made the 911 call. And that's because it was Ethan's best friend who made the discovery of Xana and Ethan's bodies. And that is a very tragic and sad detail to report. Up until now, it had been an assumption that there was maybe an unconscious person because it was a guess that there was someone behind the door who wasn't answering a bedroom door. Now we can tell you that it was Ethan's best friend who had been called over that morning and made the discovery and took Ethan's pulse. Also called out to get 911 on the phone. It is more than likely that the phone that was used to call 911 was surviving roommate Dylan Mortenson's cell phone.
Okay. So that's part of the video. We're going to continue with the rest of it here in just a second. But of course, I got to break these things up because of fair use and all that stuff. I hate it too. I'd rather just play it in all of its in one fell swoop. But unfortunately, these are the breaks. But let's talk about this here. Because they said this person was called in. This best friend was called in first. Or one of the people that was called in first. And still for me, for the life of me, I'm still not getting it. I'm still not getting it. Why you would call friends first before you actually call 911, right? Or why you would call friends first, and not maybe call 911 whilst calling the friends too. Why call the best friends? Why call? I don't get it. I still don't get that part. That part doesn't make sense. Then on top of it, okay. Then on top of that, there's a piece that isn't clicking with the other information that we've learned with the new information that Dylan Mortensen allegedly said through a source. And it's this. She saw somebody, she went to sleep, right? She said, allegedly from this source that came out on Ashley Banfield, they said something along the lines of, oh, she just thought it was a party goer, no big deal, so she went to sleep, right? So then riddle me this, Batman. Then why would she need to call all of her friends first before calling 911? Think about that for a second. Let that marinate for like a hot minute. And tell me if that math is mathing for you. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to, victim shame. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to get the timeline to make sense for me. What Ashley Banfield gave us a couple days ago was one thing. She woke up to a bunch of noise. She said, hey, guys, shut the hell up. She opened it up the third time. I'm summarizing. She opened up the door for the third time, saw a guy, assumed that he was just there kicking it and drinking with the friends and doing God knows what, right? She goes, okay. Goes back into her room, closes, locks the door behind her, and goes to sleep. Wakes up the next day, and instead of her actually getting up to go and get a bowl of Cheerios or Wheaties or whatever she gonna do, okay, maybe a little hair of the dog, she calls everybody and their mama first. They show up and then they call 911. So then see what I'm saying? She must have known something bad had happened. She must have known some evil doing went down in the house before she called any of her friends. Why would she call all of her friends, sororities, fraternity, frat boys, etc., before any 911 call was ever made? Someone make that make sense. Por favor. Timeline doesn't work now. If it's that one. If it's what the sources say. If it's the, just some guy, okay, going back to sleep, waking up, but she still calls all of her friends to check on the room, getting a guy in the house, and him brave enough to go in and find them unalive in the room? Say what? That don't make sense. Then, but here's the thing though. If you go to the probable cause affidavit, that's when it makes sense, baby. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying here? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you smoking? What I just did, the pipe that I just gave you, I don't know the phrase. I don't know the phrase, but you get what I'm saying? Now the timeline that was given before kind of seems a bit hairy. Okay? Can you smell what I'm cooking? That's what the other one I was trying to say. And then I was trying to say, put that in your pipe and smoke on it for a second. That's what I was trying to say. Doesn't make sense, babies. Doesn't make sense. Probable cause affidavit most definitely does. It kind of do. But the new one from what we got from that audio that was made a couple weeks ago that we listened to this past weekend. Okay. Okay. Sure. I still think it's BS. It doesn't add up to what Ashley Banfield just gave us a couple days ago and what we're hearing. And what we're hearing right now, it just doesn't add up. The PCA, though, probable cause affidavit, it does make sense. See, then the timeline works with that. So you see what I'm saying, though? Because once I saw this, I was like, this is not making sense. This doesn't make sense. Now we got to talk about this. Damn it. But seriously, I was like, damn it. I want to sleep tonight. Damn. All right, then. And I'm here with y'all because I need to work it out in my brain. And for me, no smoke, no disrespect to Banfield and their hard work and News Nation. Shout out to all of them for all their due diligence and their work. I'm sure that their sources, I'm sure they're solid, but there's contradiction in the connection of the timeline here. Now, somebody walked over to these breadcrumbs that were laid on the ground and just went all over the breadcrumbs. So now the breadcrumbs are all over the place like this, just all over the table like that, just gone. They're not in a nice line now. So somebody make that make sense. Okay? Because if it was just some random dude and who cares? Time to go to bed. Just some dude. Probably hoping he was going to get one of the girls' numbers. No big deal. Close the door. I'm kind of buzzed anyway. Lock it. Go to sleep. Wake up the next morning. And you still call all your friends before you walk out the door? Your own bedroom door? That doesn't make sense. See, that's the thing, Mrs. and Mr. Steelers. That's the problem. Because this thing has become nuttier than nuts in squirrel poop. I don't know. Okay? It just doesn't make sense. Like that last phrase, that last saying I just said. Made no sense, but okay. You know? So, yeah, I'm still trying to get it. I'm still trying to understand this. Let's continue. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's very, very weird, but let's go.
You have probably heard up until now that it was an unconscious person that the dispatch said over the radio. But that's not unusual, because when there's confusion, it's standard protocol, according to an article that came out recently in Airmail. Standard protocol, if there's confusion, just to skip the necessities of getting clarity and just dispatch the first responders for an unconscious person, regardless of what the actual situation is. So for anyone getting caught up on an unconscious person, probably not a good idea, given the fact that that's just sort of a standard description for get moving. We need people on the location. Again, this is multiple sources tonight with knowledge of the investigation telling us about who made the discovery of Ethan's body, and then, of course, of Xana's body. What I can tell you is who made the discovery of Maddie and Kaylee on the third floor. I'm not sure if it was any of the other kids who were called over. What is interesting about this whole scenario that played out that morning was that kids came over to the home and then 911 was called. So who knows if there was any knowledge of the carnage that had taken place in that home.
Now, one thing that just popped in my head. Let's just say this. Let's just say this. It was a Sunday morning, maybe Sunday late afternoon type thing. Okay, so let's play this out for a second, because I'm gonna give the timeline the benefit of the doubt. I will. What if they were all planning on? I mean, this is a far-fetched. This is This is speculation. Okay, let me just say this really quick. Horde speculation. All right. But I'm going to give it I'm going to give it an option here, okay? Because I try to be practical as much as I can. All right. Let me say this though. What if? Just what if they were all having a great time, and they all planned, the night before, and they all planned on doing some sort of brunch. Because, a lot of people like to do the Sunday fun day type thing. Maybe they were planning on getting together to do a brunch. Maybe she was hitting up some of those people to come over to hang out. We're going to watch the game and, continue having some beers and just do a very lazy, chill Sunday before we go back to classes on Monday. Maybe I'm giving that the benefit. I'm trying to give that at least an option of maybe they were like, hey, we're going to meet up. We're going to do this, that, and the third. Right. And maybe all those friends showed up and then this situation unfolded in front of them. And I'm saying only with the narrative that we received a few days ago from the Ashley Banfield show. Okay. Where she said she assumed this guy was just another partier from college, hanging out, just a random guy. So she went to bed. Maybe she woke up thinking that we're going to all go kick. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? That's the part that I still can't. I'm putting out that option, and that is just that's more far-fetched than the stuff that we're hearing right now. And I'm still trying to understand why she went and said, I'm going to call everybody. I'm going to call all the sorority sisters, other frat boys, all this stuff. I'm going to call all these people first before I call 911. So that's the only other thing I can think of that could be the reason, right? You see what I'm saying? Now, real quick, because for some of you guys who are late to the party really, really quick, Ashley Banfield just released some information, all right, from a source close to the case, close to the investigation, saying that the person who called 911, or the person who was on the phone on the 911 call, was actually Ethan's best friend. Ethan's best friend happened to be the person who found both Ethan and Xana unalive in Xana's bedroom. He's the same person that urged Dylan to call 911. He checked pulse and everything. And that's just horrifying to even think about, okay? And this is terrible information to even say out loud. Real talk. But she still didn't call 911 until somebody actually went into the rooms and then found those people with no pulse and said, call 911. So now we know at least the identity, sort of who actually called 911. I'm going to run this back just a tiny bit so you guys can hear a little bit of this piece here about the upstairs, because apparently who found Maddie and Kaylee. I want to play that piece one more again, and then I'm going to roll this bad boy through. Let's rock and roll.
Caught up on an unconscious person, probably not a good idea, given the fact that that's just sort of a standard description for get moving. We need people on the location. Again, this is multiple sources tonight with knowledge of the investigation telling us about who made the discovery of Ethan's body and then, of course, of Xana's body. What I can tell you is who made the discovery of Maddie and Kaylee on the third floor. I'm not sure if it was any of the other kids who were called over. What is, interesting about this whole scenario that played out that morning was that kids came over to the home and then 911 was called.
I'm going to play further, but I just wanted to emphasize that last part, because I know a lot of us are looking at the identity of the 911 caller has been revealed. Yes, that is big news. But there's also pieces of information here that we need to dissect, right? She said, best friend found Xana and Ethan. She said, what I can't tell you is who identified Madison and Kaylee, but they do know that other people were inside of that house. That is a guaranteed thing. Remember, I want to remind you guys, remember when we talked about the whole front door being wide open around 9 o'clock in the morning? The front door was wide open and everybody had their theories. Everybody was sitting there going, oh, this, that, and the third thing, and crazy things, right? Oh, the monster may have opened the door and left it open like a cocky son of a gun. This, and this, all these theories. No, the door was open because people walked in. Kids were going in there. There was obviously an emergency going on. I mean, at least that's the way I break it down. But it also shows that there were more than just the surviving roommates in the house. They were not alone in that house. And other people allegedly were going and identifying their friends' remains. So again, let me say that. Why don't you put that in your pipe and smoke on it for a little bit, ladies and germs? Because let's be real. That's some very interesting information. But that also explains certain things that were, or at least one thing that could have been, that was found that they're trying to match, which was the sole of a shoe print, of a van's shoe print that was found in the house. That could have been the monster's shoe, or it could have been one of the kids running around frantically trying to find out what the heck is going on and who did what to their friends, and just not thinking. Because seeing something that horrific, you're not thinking, y'all. You're not thinking at all. Let's continue here.
So who knows if there was any knowledge of the carnage that had taken place in that home before the kids came over. I mean, it's college, right? It's Sunday morning after a fun Saturday night. And maybe, just maybe, kids were coming over to, get together and go out for a Sunday brunch. But some kids who are unidentified.
I swear to God, I didn't know she was going to say that. I swear to God. But I really was thinking, what if it was they were all planning on getting together for a Sunday fun day? Because you know how it is. That hashtag Sunday fun day is big. It's been big forever. I did not know she said that part. Okay. I did not know that. But so that's hilarious. But still, Sunday fun day, y'all. It is a real thing. So what are the chances of him getting through, or them coming up? Because they're like, hey, ready to go in. I don't know, God knows what. There's a new vegan spot around the corner. I don't know. Something, right? And then they saw what transpired the night before. Maybe, but it's still strange that all these kids showed up. All these kids showed up beforehand. That is very wild. But let's continue. Again, that's just interesting she said that. That's kind of crazy.
Identified at this time, went over to the house that morning, and it was Ethan's best friend who made that discovery and took Ethan's pulse and yelled for them to call 911, and ultimately got on the phone on Dylan Mortenson's phone and talked to the 911 operators. I want to bring in News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton. Brian has been at the forefront of reporting this story. It's such an uncomfortable detail, but it is one piece of the puzzle that we've been trying to figure out in terms of why it's so complicated, that scene the morning of the murders.
Yeah, so much of this has been confusing based on the reports we've gotten from police. There have been so many holes and things that they haven't shared. I think beginning with your exclusive reporting last week, things started to make a little bit more sense in terms of surviving roommate Dylan and the fact that she may have thought that there were noises coming from upstairs, but not necessarily noises that meant that something bad was happening or that a murder was happening. That started to explain why she may have not initially called 911, in the middle of the night. Your exclusive reporting sort of shed light on that. And now I think this sort of continues to, again, put the pieces together now to know that there were people who came to the house that morning. And it would make sense, what you said about the unconscious person, that may have just been a categorization that the 911 call was put under. But certainly tragic, as you said, to think that Ethan's best friend, took the pulse. I mean, it's all just so heartbreaking.
Absolutely, indeed. It's 110%. This is absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely. Hearing this kind of information about what could have happened to Ethan and Xana, Madison and Kaylee, the fact that you're hearing all these different stories, yes, it's devastating. But there's so much here that I have, because even when see, this is the thing, and I love me some Brian Enton. He's a beast and all that stuff, but I don't agree with what he said there. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that there was, it answered some of the questions of the narrative. No, I think it got worse. I don't think this is helping. And let's say that this is real. Let's say that these sources are absolutely 110% ironclad. We'll find out during the trial, absolutely. And I'm not going to sit here and say that her sources are garbage. I'm not going to say that. I do have some pushback, and I most definitely got some questiones. Okay, I do, because that does not open up and explain, oh, okay, that's why she didn't call. No, it doesn't. It makes the situation worse. Now it's just jostled up the timeline. Like I said before, breadcrumbs that were perfectly, at least evenly lined out, okay? Spaced out evenly and all that. And we've just come in, or this whole situation, sources have come in, and they're just blowing these breadcrumbs right off the table and making us reconfigure everything. And I understand in an investigation, that's what happens. Sometimes you just got to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. That's just how it is. You go back to the basics, go back to the original question, go back to the original evidence that you have and start all over again. Absolutely. It makes 110% sense. But when you have something like this and you have the probable cause affidavit, and then you have this information come out, and everyone now is looking this particular direction, but then you have this information that comes out, it still goes, wait a second, that does not add up to the narrative that you were just giving us before, unless they were all going to meet up and go bowling that morning, or they were going to go to a game together. It just does. See, like I said, the narrative does not come together properly. Now, the main question I think that needs to be answered here, okay, is why all these people showed up then. What were all these phone calls for? What were they originally for? Give me one of those sources, okay? Ashley Banfield or whoever, and tell me what was the reason why there was a phone call to begin with to all those people. Did they convene in one spot because they found out that maybe some of their friends were in dire straits? Or were they all getting together because it was bottomless mimosas over at the corner club bar around noon till 4 p.m.? That's the thing. The narrative is not working out for me properly. And again, let me say this too. This narrative could be exactly what it is. We've talked about this a million times. The possibilities of this thing are vast and endless. But at the same time, I cannot sit here and see this and automatically say, oh, that this is absolutely 110% how it went down. Not when you're hearing all these other different narratives that are going on. It just doesn't make sense. But for those of y'all who are late to the party, I'm going to play a little bit of this beginning part. I'm not playing this whole video, but I'll play a little bit of this beginning part so that you guys know what's going on here. Because I know a lot of y'all who are filing in right now. I appreciate all y'all for being here on this late stream. Please hit that like button down below. Send it past 500 likes, okay? A like doesn't cost a thing, but it also helps this channel. So please hit that like button, please, and thank you. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated as well, all right? But actually, before I do that, I do have some super chats. Let me get to those real quick because I don't know about you, but I do have many questions. I got so many questions, so many burning questions. Ashley Bears, thank you so much for the 5. The defense is going to have a heyday with this in court. Absolutely. You don't think that the defense is reading or consuming every piece of information that Banfield is putting out here? You know, for a fact, they're going, oh, num, num, num. Oh, we're going to poke some Swiss cheese holes in this with reasonable doubt. It's going to be fun. Then also, let me say this too. The best friend. You realize that not everybody has a lot of best friends. Usually just have like one or maybe two. And before I play this video, a portion of this video, one more again, I do have to ask, one main question. But I forgot that I have one more super chat here. Let me grab it real quick. Ashley, again, thank you so much for the 10. Anyone think that maybe there wasn't crazy screaming because the ones awake knew the attacker and were shocked at what was happening to them by that person? I think it's possible. That could be it too. Yeah, there's a possibility of that too. I mean, now there's some ridiculous rumor flying out here about an OF page, if you know what I'm talking about. It's a spicy page, and that some of the people in this house had pages. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I will talk to you guys about that in just a second. But one thing, okay? Charmaine, I don't know how to turn that on. So that's something during a live. I don't know how to do that during a live. I can do that after the show for sure. Okay. But during a live, I don't know how to do that. That's something I have to look into. But I digress. When they are putting out the information about about revealing this person, again, let me say this again so I can wrap this thought up. We all have best friends to a certain extent, okay? Some of us are lucky to have one, more than one, right? But most of the time, we have one or two best friends, and that's really about it. So when you say that this person is his best friend that just went in and found his best friend and his best friend's girlfriend gone, erased from this planet, aren't you kind of IDing that person just a little bit? The reason why I say this is I don't know this guy's name. I don't remember his name. I maybe it's Hunter, if I'm correct. Maybe I'm wrong. But do you remember the memorial service? His best friend went up and spoke. Now, wouldn't this be IDing a potential witness? Wouldn't this be IDing a potential witness in this case? Maybe it isn't Hunter. I'm sorry. Not Hunter, but his best friend. I just forgot his name. And apparently this is the guy who comes up and says, I'm his best friend. Take a listen. Oh, come on. What happened? This bad boy just froze on me. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm going to play it. I don't understand why it's frozen on me. Come on, baby. What the heck? All right. I'm going to try to fix this. I don't know why it's doing this right now, but I'm going to let it do what it do. Here we go.
Hello. My name's Hunter Johnson.
Hunter.
Me and Ethan became best friends over the last year and a half we spent at the U of I. And since we became such good friends, I feel honored and privileged to even be able to share who he was to everyone here.
Okay. We don't need to see the rest of that. We've all seen this video, but isn't that IDing him? So you're telling me that this is the person that was on the phone with 911. If the sources are saying what is true, if the sources are saying that what it is, if the sources are saying what it is true, then they're saying, allegedly, because he goes to the school and he talks about, he said he does a very, heartwarming, very funny, tongue-in-cheek eulogy, remembrance of his best friend. Saying, oh, he was never really good with money. He would do this, that, and the third. He would always ask if he could borrow money. He'd always be like, hey, while you're at it, do you mind just going and buying me a couple, like a sixer of this and that and the third? Or we would go and play golf and he would get his ass whooped. And then he would say, oh, I'll get you with that money. Just talking about how he was as a person, how funny he was and how goofy he was and how he just was a great all-around guy and one of his best friends. So by putting out this information, aren't you exposing this guy who probably doesn't want to have his information out there like that? For a fact, everybody else is doing the math. Everybody else is mathing this ish, okay? I'm not the only one, okay? Sam Smith, I know I'm not the only one, all right? That is mathing this ish and going, wait a second. So you're telling me that he was the one on the phone. He's the one who walked into the house. He's the one who put his hands on their bodies and felt no pulse. He is the one who asked Dylan to finally go and call 911. And then he was the one on the phone. And yet what's interesting to me on top of that is that 5-0 was responding to an unconscious person, which still does not make sense to me at all. If he put his hands on their body and they were, I'm sorry to get graphic, but if they were cold as ice and they had no pulse, why would you tell 911 that there's an unconscious person? Wouldn't you just say, I've just found 2 bodies that are no longer alive? Somebody talk to me. But in no disrespect to this young man, I can only imagine what this young man, what Hunter was going through and is still going through right now as we speak. But didn't they just expose Hunter? And maybe he wasn't ready to be exposed like that. Maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe he was ready to go up and be a witness to this thing. And now there are going to be people talking about this as well. For a fact, I am not the only one asking about, wait, who's the best friend? Who best friend he talking about? Oh, wait a second. Math. Doing the math. Going through memory and going, I remember this guy. I remember the eulogy. And here he is in 360p, which it should be 1080, but you know what I'm saying. In 4K. I don't think it was a good move to put out that kind of information, if it is true. And I know some of y'all might be like, nope, I don't agree. They should have put out the information as is and blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is information that they should have put out. I don't think so. They should have waited with this information. Waited for the trial. Because now people are going to be terrorizing this young man, making his life a living hell, conspirizing, asking him about this trap house theory. Trust. All this stuff is going to be going flooding towards him. What was he doing in there? Why was he in that house? Who else was in the house with him? Because clearly he may not have been the one to find Kaylee and Madison in the way that they were. So what was he doing in the house? Just saying. Just asking the questions, guys. Just asking the questions. But I'm going to play the beginning of this right here. All right? I'm going to play this beginning part again for you guys to listen to really, really quick. Let's rock and roll.
We've known a lot of things, not everything, but the probable cause affidavit, some of the police reporting, and the news conferences, that's given us a small picture. But what we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene. And tonight I can tell you. You have heard that the 911 call was made from a surviving roommate's cell phone. But we can now tell you who it was who made that call. I'm not going to name the person, but it was Ethan's best friend.
Okay, she said, I'm not going to name any person. Again, my theory could be absolutely wrong. I will say that. But second, you don't think that other people are going to sit there and say, she says, I'm not going to name any names, but she did. I mean, come on. There's only a few people in the world that could claim to say out loud that they are best friends with a particular person, right? It's him or another dude. It's a 50-50 shot. You know what I'm saying? He went up and he spoke. He said we claimed each other to be each other's best friends. Like, yo, I'm sorry. And Trina, we're going to get to that part here in just a second. So again, she says, I'm not going to say anything. Okay, but you kind of did. I'm sorry. You kind of did. Okay? It's like, I don't want to say who it is, but it's, Kaylee's father. And it's like, there's only one person on this planet. You just got to do some Google and find Kaylee's father's name. It takes 2 seconds. You see what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. Takes 2 seconds. I did that. That took 2 seconds. Seriously, before I started the show. 2 seconds ago. Clickety clack, found it, scrubbed through, found his eulogy. He said it, and I was like, bang. Unless he was getting lied to and Ethan had another best friend somewhere else. I'm just saying. But let's continue.
Who made the 911 call. And that's because it was Ethan's best friend who made the discovery of Xana and Ethan's bodies. And that is a very tragic and sad detail to report. Up until now, it had been an assumption that there was maybe an unconscious person because it was a guess that there was someone behind the door who wasn't answering a bedroom door. Now we can tell you that it was Ethan's best friend who had been called over that morning and made the discovery and took Ethan's pulse. Also called out to get 911 on the phone. It is more than likely that the phone that was used to call 911 was surviving roommate Dylan Mortenson's cell phone. You have probably heard up until now that it was an unconscious person that the dispatch said over the radio, but that's not unusual because when there's confusion, it's standard protocol according to an article that came out recently in Airmail. Standard protocol, if there's confusion, just to skip the necessities of getting clarity and just dispatch the first responders for an unconscious person, regardless of what the actual situation is. So for anyone getting caught up on an unconscious person, probably not a good idea, given the fact that that's just sort of a standard description for get moving. We need people on the location. Again, this is multiple sources tonight with knowledge of the investigation telling us about who made the discovery of Ethan's body and then, of course, of Xana's body. What I can tell you is who made the discovery of Maddie and Kaylee on the third floor. I'm not sure if it was any of the other kids who were called over. What is interesting about this whole scenario that played out that morning was that kids came over to the home and then 911 was called. So who knows if there was any knowledge of the carnage that had taken place in that home.
Okay. So that's basically all of it right there. Okay. The end. Okay. is obviously when Brian Enton comes in and talks about the narrative and all that stuff. Okay. But to me, still, you hear that whole story, the whole timeline. Still, to me, it is kind of interesting that standard protocol is to just say unconscious person. I'm sorry. I feel like it would be easier to just say they found dead bodies. It just feels like it would be a lot quicker and a lot easier to say that than they found an unconscious person. It just seems weird that that's protocol. Okay. I don't know. But anyway, Ashley, thank you again for the 10. Dude in the apartments had an appointment or an apartment close to BK. And dude's parents apparently live on the route BK took back home. Interesting. Is that who should have also been arrested? Apartment dude sure does have a jaded past. I don't know which dude in the apartment, unless it was the person that was getting interviewed by Nancy Grace. Maybe who you're talking about? I don't know who that person is. I never really dove into that part. As far as the neighbors and all that, because a lot of neighbors have spoken out about BK. So I don't know what to take of that. I got a couple other super chats here really quick. Ashley, again, thank you. He sure did disappear real quickly after being center stage. Are you talking about Enan or Einan? Maybe you're talking about that guy? Maybe? I don't know. I'm still trying to understand what you mean by who the neighbor is or had an appointment near where BK lived and all that. I'm thinking you're talking about Enan. If I'm saying his name correctly, Enan Harsh, I think it was. But definitely let me know. Michelle B, thank you so much for the 5. There are so many rumors I can't keep things straight. Were BK's fingers, shoe prints found in the house? Is it just the DNA on the sheath so far? Let me tell you this, Michelle B, just so you know, and that we're abundantly clear. Yes, I do understand. These rumors are just so crazy. It kind of throws you off balance. It throws you off the path of where we were originally were. The rumors, yes, they're nuts. BK's fingerprints and shoe prints have not been found. Well, fingerprints and there has been a shoe print that was found in the house. We don't know, they don't know whose shoe that is. It's a Van shoe. But now if this narrative that we got from Ashley Banfield is absolutely correct or somewhat correct, that shoe print could be a teenager, a college student's foot, an innocent kid running through that house, finding out that they found one of their friends or all of their friends no longer there. I want to point that out. Then, is it just DNA? Is just DNA that was found on the sheath of the knife sheath? That's all they have so far. That is all they have. And cell phone data that they pinged cell phone pings and all towers and stuff, knowing that he has been stalking them and lurking around for 12 separate times, so on and so forth. Okay, so on and so forth. But that is all we know. Then we get this stuff on our show, on other shows that are telling us more information. And of course, we're all consuming it as quickly as we can, going, oh my God, clutch my pearls. This is what happened. There was somebody in the house. And this is exactly what's happening now. Now everybody's going, wait, there was somebody in the house. There was someone else, not the monster and not the surviving roommates that were in the house. And there could have potentially, according to sources that were given on the Banfield show, that could have been multiple kids, multiple college students in that house, finding that house in tragedy. This is what we have learned so far. But I will say this, as much as this frustrates me getting this information, of course, if this is true, if this information is true, I give the Banfield show a lot of props for having this source and all that. But the information that we're getting, I'm still wondering how ironclad it is. But it also still contradicts the narrative that has been splayed out in front of us so far. It does bring even more questions, even with the probable cause affidavit. At first, if it was with the probable cause affidavit, it would make me sit there and go, okay, this makes sense. This part makes sense. I understand why she called her friends. Or I could see a reason why she called her friends if she thought there was an intruder in her home and it freaked her out and she closed the door behind her in frozen shock phase, right? But now this other one where we heard a couple days ago where it was saying, oh, she just opened the door and it was just some other partier. She assumed she went to sleep peacefully in her bed, but then the next day she still called all of her friends before she even stepped out of her room. That seems a bit weird. Never calling 911 at all. That still seems a bit weird. And then the friends have to be the ones who found the tragedy and not the two surviving roommates. And I want to say this though too. One other thing that we still do not know. We do not know anything about Bethany's side of things. We don't know a damn thing about Bethany's point of view, her story, what she did, what she didn't do, how she got free. Did she ever run into Brian Koberger too? We don't know any of that. We don't know a damn thing about that at all. They've left us in the dark about that. But they're real quick to give us all the information about DM and nothing, again, nothing about Bethany, which is strange. Okay? So is this helping or hindering? If we actually had hard facts shown to us, this would be helping. But until this trial actually starts, all this is for the birds. Actually, all this is a meal for the defense. And that's what sucks about this. This is tragic. Okay? Ashley Veris, thank you so much for the 20. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, Enan, okay. He had an apartment right next to BK while also having the apartment behind the house. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know he had an apartment right next to BK. I just thought he had an apartment in the area near the house. But that's news to me. He's got a well-documented past with stuff, with rugs, okay, for lack of a better term. Maybe how they knew each other. That could be it too. BK asked if anyone else was arrested. Must be asked. Questions must be asked. That is a good possibility. Anything's possible at this point. He could have had an accomplice. He could have had a gang of accomplices. We heard stories about there was 3 shadowy, shady figures outside the front of the house before they walked in, and all this chaos went in there. So many theories, so much BS, and it's frustrating. I hope we can get some more information very, very soon, something more ironclad. I wish we had some smoking gun information, okay? But I don't know about Enan, okay, or Einan or Enan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, okay? I don't know about him. All I know is that he's a bit socially awkward. True. But that doesn't mean that he's a monster, okay? Lacey, thanks so much for the 2. Pascal, grinding late. Thankful for all that you do. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Yes, and it is getting late, but I do want to show you guys this one last thing, which is absolute horse manure, okay? I want to show this. This is a horse-ish. So let's take a look at this. This is stupid. This is the kind of BS that the people are writing. BK allegedly spoke to Bethany Funk, and Dylan Mortensen on their OF pages. And when I say OF, I mean this, babies. Okay? OF page before This is so stupid. Okay? I just want you guys to know that. People are making up this kind of BS out here. Even more crap is coming out here. And you're telling me Bethany and Dylan had their own OF pages? Come on, man. Come on. Show me the Carfax. And don't give me some fake doctored BS. Okay? Give me something real. All right? But I'm trying to get to the point of this here. Okay? An earlier tweet mentioned Kaylee's rumored OF account and said that one of the college students who was attacked in Idaho was said to have had an OF site and had been having very interesting parties. Okay? Dance parties, let's just say that. Spicy dance parties at home. He kept saying that she got a brand new Range Rover. This probably made the unaliver follow her. Then he thought how sad it was that young people were into corn and satanic thug music. This is stupid, y'all. But again, this is the kind of information and type of content that's flying all over the place here with BS of people saying very, very stupid things. And we have no proof of any of this stuff. And the fact that they said satanic thug music. Satanic thug music. What? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But now they're saying that one of the girls had or some of the girls had OF pages, and that was one of the reasons why this girl could get a Range Rover. Show me the facts, y'all. That's just so stupid, y'all. That's just so stupid. I'm sorry. I got better things to do, but I heard this through the grapevine today, and I was like, okay, if there's anything else to talk about this case, I will bring this up in a conversation. But this is trash. Absolute trash, and don't waste your time with this stuff. Ashley, again, thank you so much for the 5. She's coming in hot with all these super chats. Thank you so much for your super chat, sweetheart. Thank you. He also worked at a vegan restaurant 4 minutes away from BK's house. Coincidences? All of them? Also, what the hell is satanic thug music? I don't know what satanic thug music is. Lil Nas X maybe is what he's trying to. I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know. I don't know. What is satanic thug music? Precious Metal even saying what the F is satanic thug music? Exactly. Some people have some time on their hands, babies. Okay. No, guys. I'm sorry, but no. So now you guys have this information from Ashley Banfield. I wanted to just get a quick reaction video or reaction live with you guys about it. I felt like it would be better to talk to you guys about it as a family. And honestly, I am still wrapping my mind around it, to be honest. Really, it is a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. And I don't know if I believe all of it. Again, it doesn't to me until we find a link or a piece of the puzzle that connects the narrative that we received from Ashley Banfield a couple days ago to this new narrative from the sources that she received about everything. Then I'll sit and breathe a little bit easier. But this part, I don't. It's not connecting to me yet, or it's not connecting for me yet. So I want to see a little bit more. I need to see the Carfax. I need to see more proof. And then this OF page is absolute trash. I don't know why Kaylee had a brand new Range Rover. That could have been anything. Okay, could have been an OF page, but is there proof of that page actually existing? Is there proof of him? Okay. following her and all that from this OF page, we still have no proof of that. And I feel like that would be information that would have already been out here for us to see. So anyway, guys, I think as time goes on, we will find more and we'll just have to wait. Again, this is still the same thing. And I feel like every time she breaks something on her show that has to do with this case and that there's people having questions and pushback, we're all going to have to sit here and say, we'll just have to wait till the trial. When we get the preliminary hearing and when we go into trial and get all those questions finally answered. All right. So we'll see what happens here. All right. We'll definitely see what happens here. But crazy stuff, y'all. Okay. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for being here so late. I'll be back on tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow as well. Lots of stories, lots of things to catch up on. We will be talking and chopping it up. So again, I love every single one of y'all. Thank you so much for being here so late with me. I know it's late for some of y'all, and some of y'all still in the afternoon. So enjoy your afternoon. And for those of y'all who are just about to rest your weary little heads, have a great, powerful sleep. Okay? Y'all deserve it. All right? So anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. You guys have been incredible, and I will talk to you very, very soon. All right? Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button. Be greatly appreciated. And of course, hit that join button down below if you're interested in becoming a family member. It'd be appreciated. Seriously, it'd be absolutely appreciated, okay? Anyway, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or today. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.